Sequels have a really hard time with sequeling, don't they? My name is Insane Raven, and today on IO Reviews, we're going to be reviewing the Lego Movie 2, the second part. Because all originality is dead. Okay, so this movie is pretty much exactly what the first movie was, and just more of it. And that is both a good and bad thing. It's good because genuinely the Lego Movie was a fun time. It was a time that I remember fondly enough to believe that this movie would be fun to go see. Hence the reason why this video exists. However, I may have underestimated how important a certain part of the first movie was, which, spoilers for the first movie if you haven't seen it yet. There's a huge reveal where it turns out that the entire Lego movie has been taking place in the mind of, being blunt, this kind of neglected child. And it gives the entire movie not only stakes, but almost this revelation of like, oh, that's really cool. That's really unique almost. Like, I like it. And it kind of changed the perspective on everything. And the second movie, they try to do a lot of the same things, but you already know the punchline. You know that it's all in these kids' mind, which is not a bad thing per se. But then, so it breaks that whole like, oh, this is more about the psychology of this child versus anything else. And then it goes in, but then it really like almost doubles, I would say triples down on the fact that these are real people kind of just playing with some toys. And it ends up becoming almost preachy and almost, and I'll straight up say it, unfun to watch. Which is something that I didn't think the Lego Movie 2 would have a problem with. I invited my friend on to see it, and now I owe her any movie of her choice next time. So the next movie you see is a rom-com. Well, now you know why. But it ends up being this pretty much a failure of a movie. And it's something that, honestly, I wish there wasn't. Because like I said, not only did I invite a friend out to see this movie, it was this thing that I got worried about as I walked in. Part of the reason why I loved the first one is that there was no expectations of really anything. And yeah, there are a couple of good jokes that land here and there, but after the first hour of the movie, it feels too much like deja vu to really enjoy it. It feels like they've blown the best shit already. And you're not going to be seeing anything new. If anything, you're going to be seeing rehashes of past things. My other issue with the movie is that it's almost a musical. And when I mean almost a musical, I mean there are more musical numbers for reasons. Like, some of them are really fun, and others just don't seem to make any sense. Then you have this whole... like... And then there's a twist at the end that doesn't make any sense either. And in the end, the movie just seems like it has much more of a... well, what could we do versus what should we do? Which is not a thing I thought I'd be saying in regards to Lego Movie. Especially since Lego Movie has... the Lego properties pretty much have as much freedom as almost any IP could have. And then just to see it all get wasted is just disappointing. The story follows Emmett and company from the first film dealing with enemies from the Sistar system, which now that you know the secret that everyone's human, it becomes very obvious at what they're playing at. Almost to the point where it ruins the joke early on, and it's not something that you really end up caring about. With not only that squandered, you very quickly go through this whole thing of meeting the very limited new characters and going through everything that you kind of get with not much to talk about. It ends up being almost an experiment as to how annoying can we piss off everyone in the room. They even have a song specifically designed to almost make fun of Everything Is Awesome. And it being this purposely designed, annoying song that you end up just wanting to shake and be like, why are you like this? While I get that it's making jokes and quips from the past movie in the same self-deprecating way that it's been taking shots at everything else, this time it just seems unnecessary and extra. And that's not even mentioning the continued use of Everything Is Awesome by the movie. I get it. Everything Was Awesome did a lot of good for your movie. It kept it going for a lot of people. But then when you play it again and do not one but two covers of it, a cover and then a reprisal, it gets annoying. And not even in the way where it was purposely designed to be manufactured and grating, but still kind of catchy. It ends up just being frustrating to listen to. That on top of the fact that they have another song designed to do that exact same thing, it becomes almost too much. Now I think that I'm pretty graceful when it comes to that. But even I was starting to have my doubts of whether or not it was worth doing and worth staying in, which is unfortunate. Ultimately, I don't recommend seeing this movie, and I don't recommend inviting anyone out to this. At best, if you really do want to see how Emmett's story continues, I'd recommend redboxing it or even waiting until it's out on Netflix or Hulu. But besides that, this movie really is not worth your time. And definitely not worth your money. As unfortunate as that is. But that is going to be it for the spoiler-free version of this video. If you want to get some spoilers, this is the place to be. In about 3 seconds, I'm going to start doing all the spoilers, which I'm told is fun. So if you're going to be sticking around for that, we're pleased to talk to you. But until then, this is your minute warning to bug off. At this point, I'm hoping you bug it off, because if you haven't bug it off, you're going to be getting some spoilers for a movie that I did not like. Alrighty. Everyone good? Everyone clear? Everyone understood with what is happening? Alrighty. Spoilers. So, one of the new characters that you meet is Rex, which is literally just Chris Pratt doing Chris Pratt, but more manly instead of the more optimistic and carefree Emmett. And you end up finding out that this guy who you thought was your friend the entire time ends up being an enemy. And ends up being the main antagonist of the film. It comes from kind of out of nowhere, except not at the same time. And instead is played as oh wait, the whole message of the movie is you need to learn to get along. And it then takes its message and then beats you over the head with it because of Rex's character being cold and closed off to virtually everyone else. Now again, I do get what they're going for, especially with the reveal at the last movie that these are children and this is a brother-sister relationship. Because, haha, pun, sister, system. It takes it and kind of runs it into the ground quickly and effectively. And that's kind of sad. Especially when the first movie did handle it all with much more posing grace. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna say this movie wasn't funny at all. It definitely had a good chuckle here and there. But for the most part of the movie, I was cringing. I was waiting for an ending to come. And even when they do the end credit scene, I was excited. And then they pull out Toy Story 3 and say, no, this can't be the end. There has to be a happy ending. And what I'm assuming is an attempt to get some emotions out of the audience. I don't know. To put it simply, this movie's kind of all over the place. They do another song and kind of end up washing everything out. Which, alright, cool. Lesson learned. Everyone ends up happy and we end up having a happy ending. Which, again, I get you want to have a happy ending, but it does seem a little counter the point of the movie. Of how sometimes growing up is hard and you don't have to change. And you don't have to change, but growing up will change you. And how that's okay. Now, this is part where I feel like the whole, it's kind of an advertisement for Lego, just like the first movie was, ends up being a much bigger deal than it was last time. Because if it wasn't for that fact, you would have had this somber ending. This ending where it's like, oh, Emmett the human has actually changed and is gonna be whatever. Instead, the movie ends up going for, no, be optimistic, be this and that, and together we can change. And we can change the world and everything can be awesome. Which again, beautiful message, but at this point it's been hit over the head so many times. I am past the point of caring. Which is such a disappointment, especially when the first film of father and son relationships and bringing new people into your hobbies is done so much better. And how creativity needs to be grown and flourished. It's upsetting. In the end, everyone is kind of where they started in the beginning. Everyone ends up walking on their own and being more or less the same person. You do have a time travel plot that gets thrown in to explain how certain shit can happen, even though it makes literally no sense. And all of it in the end just seems, I don't want to say manufactured, but cheapened. It feels cheapened by a movie that honestly did most of the themes better the first time around. It's disappointing. And I'm not sure if that's because I walked into the first movie with so few expectations and then I'm believing on such a high note that this movie couldn't rise to the occasion. All of it's because it's just a genuinely bad movie. Now, my friend who didn't see the first movie had literally no idea what we were watching and was more than confused most of the time. But even then, she did have a couple of laughs here and there. In the end, this movie feels like wasted potential, with a plot that doesn't really make a lot of sense, and then it feels more like, well, we could do that, and not whether or not we should for plot or really any other reason. And in the end, it's something I wish I wouldn't have seen. But if you saw the Lego Movie, the second part, and you want to let me know what you thought of it, let me know in the comment section down below. I will see you guys in my next video. Bye bye.